I know of a family that goes skiing in the winter, takes trips to Hawaii in the summer, and owns a home with a backyard and swimming pool in an upper middle class neighborhood. To the casual observer, their lifestyle seems no different than that of their neighbors, with one notable exception. They retired while still in their 30s. In this video, I'm going to share 3 things about FIRE, financial independence, retire early, that so many people get wrong. Let's jump in. Number 1, retirement. For most people, retirement is what you plan for in your 60s, when you exchange a briefcase or tool belt for afternoons on the beach, when your focus shifts from labor to leisure. That's not how I look at it. The goal of retirement is not to sit on the beach all day. That's nice, but you can only do that for so long. It's to do work that you love, pursue your interests, and to solve problems that you care about without the need to make a living. And perhaps most importantly, doing all of that with the health and vitality of youth. If you're already doing work that you love and pays the bills, well, congratulations, you've hit the jackpot. Thanks for watching this video. Just kidding. The second thing people get wrong is they think you need a huge income to retire early. Nope. Early retirement is more about your savings rate than your income. For people who don't run into a windfall, which is most people, there are 3 things that will determine how much money you'll have in retirement: time, rate of return on investments, and how much you save. Which one do you think we have the most control over? How much we save. It's common for people to save 10%. That's fine if you want to get the results that most people get. But if you want extraordinary results, you must do what most people won't. You can't be normal. As someone once said, normal is broke. Let me break this down for you. If we save 10%, that means we're spending 90%. So it takes us 9 years of work to get 1 year off. If we boost our savings rate to 50%, we get 1 year off for every year of work. Look at what happens if we save 75% of our income. For every year of work, we build up enough cash to fund 3 years off. Admittedly, it's much easier to save 50 or 75% if you're earning lots of money, but a 50% savings rate is quite doable with a normal income. That brings me to my third point. Saving is deprivation. Absolutely not. The point is not to squeeze the life out of every penny you earn. The point is to redesign your lifestyle so that saving is inevitable. Here's what I mean. According to the Department of Labor, the average U.S. household spends almost 70% of their income on 3 things: housing, food, and transportation. So let's focus on the big 3. Transportation. On average, we spend $10,000 annually in this category, typically on cars, depreciation, car payments, maintenance, gas, etc. If you made a one-time investment of $10,000 in the stock market, that would grow to $20,000 in 10 years, nearly $100,000 in 30 years, and almost $1 million in 60 years. Exchange your car for a bicycle or move to a location where you don't need a car to get to work. Not owning a car, even for a few years, can make you a future millionaire. Housing. Everyone's got to live somewhere, but for now, we're not going to buy a starter home. We're going to rent, and rent small. We can buy a house later. Food. Of course, this means brown bagging it for lunch, but the real breakthrough in this area is building culinary skills. Imagine enjoying the company of friends and family at a beautiful, expensive restaurant. Great ambiance, drinks flowing, but everyone agreed that the meal itself wasn't even as close to as good as the food you regularly enjoy in your own kitchen. Build your skill so your kitchen is the best restaurant in town. The foundation for a high savings rate is not to live like a miser, but to redesign your lifestyle around your top 3 or 4 expenses. And as your income grows, you grow your savings, not your lifestyle. So here's the trade-off. Basically, be willing to live like a college student for a few more years than is socially acceptable. In exchange, you get to retire in 10 to 20 years, depending on your savings rate. Once you reach your financial goals, you can allow your lifestyle to grow as well. You can only do that now because you didn't do it earlier. Okay, what do we do with all that cash we're saving every year? Put it under a mattress? Time out. We need our money to make money. So you guessed it, put it in the stock market, in a broad-based index fund. We're going to do what one of the greatest investors of all time, Warren Buffett, tells us to do, And eventually, our portfolio will grow to a size that will fund our desired lifestyle for the rest of our life. How big does our portfolio need to be? There's a framework called the 4% rule. It's a rule of thumb, but it's simple and it's useful. It's based on a study that looked at historical stock and bond market returns over a 50-year period, accounts for inflation and lifespan. Here's how it works. Take your annual expenses and multiply them by 25. If your expenses are $40,000 a year, your portfolio needs to be at least $1 million. $100,000 of expenses requires a portfolio of at least $2.5 million. If you're more conservative, use the 3% rule, in which case you'd need 33 times annual expenses to retire. If you're less conservative, call it the 5% rule and multiply your annual expenses by 20. In a nutshell, FIRE is for people who decide to spend their younger years grinding and saving like crazy so that they can retire as early as possible. Some people believe, however, your 20s and 30s are for spending and partying. I'll grind and save later. In my opinion, you're both right. Play your game. Personal finance is much more personal than it is finance.